Hello, this is Crystal Racing with another review, and yes, Max Verstappen has won his 8th consecutive Grand Prix. Red Bull extend their record to now 13 wins, the most for a team, most consecutive race victories for a team in F1 history. Congratulations. It's going to be an A+ for Max Verstappen, who had to start from the P6 due to a gearbox penalty, and he won the sprint race. Perfect weekend all round. Sergio Perez is up next, second place. Of course, he had his problems in a sprint race, I beg your pardon, where he got hit by Hamilton and his race ruined, but he finished second and he took the lead from the start in the actual race today, so I'll give him an A-. And that might take a lot of pressure off him in terms of his future, with, of course, a certain Ricciardo looking at AlphaTauri. Third place, Charles Leclerc, A+, took pole position, out-qualifying Perez, who should be kind of ashamed, to be honest. And did all he could in a Ferrari. That's not good enough to win races, but then again, no one else has a car good enough to win races when you've got Red Bull and Max together. Fourth place, was it Lewis Hamilton? Yeah. I'll give him more... I don't know, I'll give him an A as well, because to be honest, it's so hard to rate the drivers with Red Bull so far ahead. It feels like it's just a battle for second and third right now. And of course that keeps Mercedes in second place of the Constructors. Fernando Alonso finished 5th. Poor qualifying, but I'll give him an A-. Decent performance in the race. But of course he was helped by the fact that Piastri and Sainz hit each other. 6th place, George Russell. It's going to be a B+. He did make up a lot of places after another bad qualifying, but his qualifying performances are not good enough. What's his name? Lando Norris. It's going to be... This is a tricky one because he had problems at the start with his soft tyres not firing up and dropping down the order. And then, of course, he had to go to the pits to put more front wing on. It's probably going to be a B. I know that might seem a bit harsh, but right now, but of course, McLaren just didn't seem to have the pace in quality, not in quality, in the race for some reason, especially early on. But when the rain hit the track, I think it did help their car out a little bit, because the track became a bit more greasy, and it meant that Norris could exploit its ability to look after his car and tyres better in the greasy conditions. 8th place was Esteban Ocon. I'll give him an A grade for his performance. Of course, he struggled in the sprint, but his performance in the race today was very good. Getting up from a P14 to P8 with, of course, others running into problems. P9, Lance Stroll, P6 disqualified because he's just not, well, I mean, it was a decent performance from him today, but if I had to give him a grade, it'd be a C. But really, though, I expect a lot more from him. Then, of course, the last points finisher, Yuki Tsunoda. I'll give him an A grade. An A- because, of course, he finished miles down the order in the sprint race. But he turned it around for the race since, of course, he qualified P11 and stayed up very high up the order all race long and did enough to hold off Gasly. Pierre Gasly gets an A- because he got third in the sprint race. Of course, he had a bad start and he also suffered a 5-second pit stop in the main race itself. But nonetheless, he actually scored more points in the sprint race, 6 points, than Ocon did receive for finishing P8 in the main race, where he only got 4 points. Past also Fruit Loops, I suppose. P12, I'm not sure where did everyone else finish? Oh yeah, Bottas finished P12. Don't know what to give him, to be honest. Maybe a B-. B-, yeah. Don't really know. Is that Alfa Romeo really good enough for points? I mean, I suspect if you put a better driver in that car, I think they would have got a point today. Hint, hint. Kimi Räikkönen. P13, Zhou Guanyu. I'll just give him a C+. Didn't really see him, and to be honest, But I have to say he was actually quite low down the order for most of the race, and he was playing catch-up for most of the race, so I'm not really sure whether it was that good a race. P14, I think it was Alex Albon, or was it Kevin Magnussen? I can't remember who finished where, but Alex Albon, sorry for picking my nose up, Alex Albon will get a C because that was a bit of a tricky weekend for Williams, no points at all. Kevin Magnussen gets a C, better effort. First time he's beaten Hulkenberg since Miami. But frankly though, with 2 daughters and a wife at home, I'm not sure how long he's going to last in Formula 1. P16 was Logan Sargent. Was this Sargent having a better race, or was this Ricciardo and Hulkenberg struggling? I'm really not sure, but I'll give him a C- for his efforts. P17, Ricciardo, I'll give him a C grade. Got caught out by track limits in qualifying, meaning that he had to start on the back row in P19, and of course he couldn't get past anyone because he was stuck in DRS trains for the whole race. And then of course P18, Hulkenberg, who qualified last and then decided to start the pit lane. Well, we got battered by Magnussen all weekend, and really an uncharacteristically poor weekend for Nico Hulkenberg, who's been impressive all season long, but this weekend he just wasn't at it. And the 2 retiree, Nico Hulkenberg, I'll give him a D grade. As for Carlos Sainz, who retired from the race, I don't know what he could have achieved, but really, if we take his P4 in the sprint into account, I've got to give him at least a C grade. Of course, probably messed up his pit stop in the sprint race, and then of course, maybe he missed out on the podium there, and then of course he hit Piastri at the start. Not really sure whether it really was his fault, but of course too much damage to his side pod. I'll just call it a racing incident. And then of course Piastri, I've got to give the lad a B+ because he finished second in the sprint race, and a very unfortunate incident at the start of the main race with Sainz. So yeah, that's it. I don't really want to talk about this race. This really wasn't a fun race to watch. Yeah, there was a lot more overtaken around Spa than there was at Hungary, but this is a really, really dull season now we're watching, and I have to say, I would not be surprised if Red Bull became the first ever invincibles in the history of F1, emulating what also achieved in the 2003 to 2004 Premier League season, going throughout the whole season unbeaten. And frankly, I would not be surprised if Red Bull broke Mercedes' win record of 19 wins in 2016, and Red Bull became the first ever team to win 20 races in a Grand Prix season. Yeah, this has been Crystal Racing, over and out.